good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room. The start of another work week, and right now the market's off to a little bit of a brisk start. This is the NASDAQ, of course. For those of you new in the trading room, the way I have my charts set up, I've got my DTS system, the Hawk Scalper here on the top left, Falcon Swing Trader top right, Eagle Trend Trader bottom left, and the Raptor here on the bottom right. I'm following the NASDAQ on this monitor, and I've also got the E-mini S&P and crude oil up, but please don't be shy about requesting a market if there is something you would like to see. So the market's just opening kind of flat relative to where they left off. You can see here on Friday's session on the Eagle, a nice little run up for most of the session. Then we kind of retraced over the lunch and went flat through the afternoon. The pre-market, a little bit on the quiet side, but it does seem like overall we should try to stay bullish. It does seem that the market may be leaning a little bit to the long side, the buy side. But we're just watching and waiting at the moment. It is only, we're only a couple of minutes into the session. And things looking pretty balanced here to start. Introducing some yellow bars here on the Hawk. Of course, we're into the hard edge here on the Eagle. If you were looking for your first in-sync Eagle signal of the day, there it is right there. And that may well work out, you know, because it is with trend. What time is it? Oh gosh, we're only 5 minutes into the day. That's a little bit of a risk taker right there. We'll see how this plays out. Oh, they didn't slip me. That's a good sign. Sorry, folks, about the audio. All I was pointing out was this was the signal here on the Raptor. That coincided with the Eagle signal. This would have been a very, very difficult signal to take on the Raptor. The only exception was perhaps if you were just bullish on the NASDAQ because of a long-term chart like the daily chart. You could have perhaps bought in here. You could have attempted to buy in here, but you didn't get filled. So you can see that a lot of the buy signals actually working out if you just hold out for the buy signals, the long signals. I was anticipating a cloud crossover here because the clouds are out of sync and now they come back into sync. We've got the pullback, we've got the warning dots, but something's not quite complete in the programming that it hasn't produced a #1 signal yet. But that's what we're on the lookout for there. Anybody else producing a signal? Yep, here the Falcon actually has put together a signal. This would be our trend change signal. The Hawk also producing a first micro-macro cross. I think that one's actually found its high probability profit objective through this little leg up right there. And so far, it's looking like maybe I made the right decision bringing my stop in so quickly. Floyd says the YM and the mid cap, that's the EMD, both making a very nice move. We are around quarter to the hour. This is typically when the market tosses a knuckleball. Pretends it's going one way and then ends up going the other. All right, still waiting for that possible buy signal here on the Raptor. There it is. Now you can just punch in with a buy signal as well. The signal has engaged, or you can set up for a second push opportunity. Stop should probably go back at least to the hard edge of the cloud. So it looks like I could have held on with that eagle trade. Hey, way to go, Elmer! Elmer says, I'm still in sim, but 3 little hawk trades with trend would have been $315. Nicely done, Elmer. And that's how it's done, folks. You know, a lot of times you don't have to swing for the fences all the time. You don't have to get those home run type trades. You can do quite well taking the smaller trades and just increasing your position size. I'm going to roll my break even here to the high of this bar. So if it makes one more push higher, I'll get to the break even. In fact, I'm getting a little nervous about it right now, but maybe it will go to the parabolic mode. There we go. You need to trade for your personality as well, right? I can tell you how I might trade, but it may not suit your personality. Some traders can't stand to see the market go on without them. Other traders can't stand to give up any open profit. And some people are somewhere in between there. You have to find what works best for you. Because after all, at the end of the day, it is your money. All right, 6016, that's a familiar number. I think we're getting near the Friday's high, and sure enough, we are. Maybe I'll protect a little bit more here as well. Speaking of protecting a little bit more money. Here we go. Come on. Somebody try to take out the high. There we go. So we took out the high. There should be a little bit of a reaction there now as sellers try to beat up the buyers. But hooray for us, we hit our profit target. And it seems to be shaping up to be another pretty bullish day overall. Hey, way to go, Mark. Mark saying, I took that Falcon trend change signal. That's this one right here. On 2 contracts for $250. Well done, Mark. Yeah, Mark says not a bad start to the week. Not a bad start to the week at all. All right, getting a little bit of a pullback now to the trend line. Okay, well, we're just on hold here. Market kind of moving in slow motion again. might see a reversal pattern here, actually. A short-term pullback would not be out of the question. Kind of a great big double top or triple top, however you would like to see this. Which is no doubt getting the attention of the sellers. Yeah, this is a good point here from Floyd. Floyd says Tuesday and Wednesday will probably be slow because of the Fed announcement. I've noticed cautious trading the day before. And that's a very good observation. Things have gotten very quiet here all of a sudden. Yeah, Mark says, agreed, a good time to be cautious. Fed announcements, of course, one of those reports that will impact the market. But right now, we're kind of stuck in the mud. A little bit of a push up here. Didn't really qualify as a hard edge bounce. We did get the macro pullback here in the hawk. Sure. Floyd's asking, can you explain how to use the equivolume bars? The equivolume bars are bars that print wider on wider volume. Most traders agree that volume is very important in gauging the intent of the market. But a lot of times volume charts are very difficult to read. If we put your typical volume histogram on here, you can see it's not always so easy to decipher. Well, to make volume a little easier to interpret, we have the equivolume bars. And you can see the bars that are printing wider have more volume associated with them. And the bars that are skinny, narrower, have less volume associated with them. So it's an easy visual to see how much volume is currently in the market. Typically, the market will turn on increased volume, and that should make sense. When a market is trading in one direction, there's probably not a lot of resistance. So when prices were advancing here, you can see some of these bars were getting a little bit thicker, but for the most part, they're relatively thin, as there wasn't very much resistance to the advance until we got up here around the 60-18 area, and then all of a sudden we saw a lot of volume go in. So you can see by the width of the bar how much more buying or selling activity there is. And likewise down here, as the market comes down, volume increases and we get a turn. These heavy volume areas tend to be strong support and resistance zones, and you can see that this one here at 60.10, very close to the primary resistance line at 60.08 half. You can see that's also where the market turns sometimes through the overnight. So how do you trade them? Well, different traders will trade them differently. Some traders, like I said, they'll use these just as support and resistance areas and look to short on a break below here, knowing that there's some strong support at the 60.10 area. If they see that area fail, well, they'll get interested in selling the market short. The way I use them is, if let's say we're waiting for a hard edge bounce, and the deeper we get, the easier it will be to take the hard edge bounce. Let's say the market comes all the way down here. It comes into the hard edge, gives us the hard edge bounce, produces the signal. Okay, so I know there's going to be resistance right here because of the width of the bars. If I have an abnormally fat bar somewhere along the way, I know there was additional resistance off of this bar, and then of course I know near the high. So I'll be watching to see how the market reacts when it gets here. As the prices advance, I'm going to anticipate a reaction here. That's only normal because of all this prior trading activity around the 60.10, 60.11 price range. You can see the buyers are starting to buy it back because they were interested in buying it here before, right? So once the market gets through there, I'll look again for a little bit of a reaction here around 60.14. So let's say my stops were initially back here somewhere. If I can ride out the first swing, then I'll bring my stops up to here. If I can ride out the second swing, then I'll bring my stops up to here. And if it looks like the market's going to stumble at the high, if I'm not taking profit, then I'll probably get more aggressive with my stops as we get toward this last resistance area. Will the market turn there, or will it break through? Well, that I can't tell you. But I do know, as the market gets back to these heavy bars, where traders have exhibited a lot of interest in buying or selling, I'll also be watching those areas to see how the market reacts, to see whether or not I should do something with my stops. Maybe there's another buying or selling opportunity. And then there's things like this as well. This isn't always easy to spot, especially since it was very early in the session. But when a market turns on weak volume, see how it turned down here, and these bars, compare the bars to these bars up here. Right? They're not very, very heavy. When a market turns on weak volume, that usually tells you there's not a lot of interest in keeping the prior trend. In this case, the prior trend attempting to move the market down. So sellers try to sell off, not a lot of interest as the market turns, and then of course we get the follow through to the buy side. So a couple of different ways you can look at that. We're getting now the counter trend signal, the target here being the hard edge. And look at the width of the bars here again. The buyers are trying to support this market. They are trying to buy it up. All right, it looks like they may try to press here to the hard edge now. Come on, get a little lower. All right, well, there they go. They finally got to the hard edge. I don't know. Was that the move of the day, that little run up that we saw? So waiting for possible reaction now to the hard edge. As the buyers will likely show up here somewhere. All right, well, here they go. They're showing up. We're going to get a hard edge bounce here on the Raptor. The Falcon and the Hawk already turning a little bit bullish, or yes, pardon me, bearish. But the Eagle and the Raptor a little bit more on the buy side. Come on, they're trying. Here we go. So you can see the Eagle already producing that red bar buy. Signal's not complete, we just have the warning dot. If this signal does complete, we will print a red bar buy signal. I was really hoping the hard edge bounce would print a little bit lower here because, as I pointed out earlier, we know there's going to be some resistance here at the 60-10 area. That's where the sellers got stopped the first time by the buyers and then ran down the second time. not going to get the signal, it seems. So we're just watching and waiting. Yeah, Mark says, if this is any indication, the next couple of days are going to be like watching grass grow. The moves are all going to be in slow motion. Oh, fantastic. Steve off on a nice full trip. Steve says, FYI, I'm leaving Wednesday for Berlin and Prague. So after Wednesday, I'll not be with you until October again. Well, I've got a trip coming up this weekend, but it's not nearly as exciting. We're going to go up to Quadra Island with some friends. That sounds like a great trip. Have a good time, Steve. Berlin and Prague. I wonder if the beer's any good there. Yeah, Mark says, I'm thinking it is. Oh, here we go. We got that hard edge bounce forming. So we'll demo this, but the day is moving so slowly. Maybe a second push entry opportunity would be the way to go. Remember, I pointed out this area right here, that fat little bar. That could be a little problematic. If we can get through there, though, we'll probably at least challenge the highs. Well, they're certainly taking their time, giving us any sort of follow-through. Well, you can see by the width of these bars that we're starting to get a little bit more activity there. Nope. All right, so it looks as though the buyers might be done. We'll see what happens as the market approaches the hard edge again, if we get another pushback. Well, here we are trading in slow motion again. I'm not really ready to commit to a full bear move, but it is starting to lean a little bit more to the short side. Okay, well, don't really have much going on here at the moment. I suppose you could treat this signal here as another number 2 signal. That would be a counter trend signal. But I don't know if I would be in any rush to get into a trade here. Okay, this could be a double pullback signal. The double pullback is typically 2 number 3 signals in a row, but all we're really looking for are 2 moves into the cloud, and the second move out of the cloud will tend to be the stronger move, the one where the market actually starts to get some traction. No, they're not going to give us that either. Okay, so it looks like maybe the sellers are going to press the market lower. Or not. Hey, way to go, Elmer. Elmer says, in Sim, live is a lot easier. 4 trades, $515. Nicely done, Elmer. Well, I think we are going to be stuck in this sideways mode probably at least for the rest of the day. I think we've seen the move the morning. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a bounce up, actually, but I think we're done, at least until around the close when traders are likely to scramble, get out of their positions. But as Floyd pointed out earlier, I think the FOMC, the Fed, the Fed announcement is going to put the damper on the market here. All right, gang, I think we'll button up shop here for today. We'll try it again tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye for now.